A lot of students think that learning a foreign language such as English is difficult. The first thing the first thing to consider in order to succeed in the language are the following two psychological factors: your motivation and your attitudes. If you have motivation to succeed in doing something, you will then achieve it. If you don't have motivation, you will then do not achieve it. The same thing applies to learning a language. Without motivation or being motivated, learning the language will prove to be difficult. Once you have a strong motivation, it becomes easier to learn it. In other words, you must have motivation to learn English. You should have your own personal reasons for learning the language. Once you increase your inner motivation to learn English, you become more confident to succeed in learning it. Your attitudes towards the language and learning about its culture are also important. You should approach learning the language with positive attitudes, and you should view learning about its cultural patterns positively. If you develop negative attitudes, your rate of success starts to decline, to come down, and you begin to fail in the language, especially if you are a beginner. Successful English learners always have positive attitudes and always look at the language and its culture positively. My advice to you is always motivate yourself and develop positive attitudes. If you are a beginner, here are some tips for you to succeed in learning English. First of all, think of yourself like a child, like a baby. Babies learn their language slowly. First, they learn to listen, then they learn to talk. Finally, they can read and write. Listen to English every day. Listen to English radio. Watch English TV. Go to English movies. Use online lessons on the internet. Then, another tip: converse with a friend who speaks English fluently. Make up conversations. Practice dialogues. Read beginner textbooks to your friend. The next step: read English stories. Start with simple children's storybooks. Then try classic readers, which are for students who are second language learners. Read advertisements, signs, and labels. And the last tip here is write down new words. Start a vocabulary, that is a new word notebook. Start a vocabulary notebook. Write words in alphabetical order, like a dictionary. Make example sentences. Always use an English dictionary first. Here are some other tips for you to learn English. For example, keep an English diary. Start with one sentence, like how do you feel? How is the weather? What did you do today? Write another sentence tomorrow, and so on. Visit an English speaking country. Learn English more quickly. Stay with an English family. Hear native speakers talk. Have a fun experience. You may ask yourself, where do I start? And you want to know, for example, why do you want to learn English? Before you begin studying English, ask yourself one question. Why do I want to study English? Is it because you want to, or because someone else wants you to? Like every decision in life, studying English must be something you want to do. Set goals for yourself. If you know why you want to study, setting goals is easy. For example, maybe you want to travel to an English-speaking country. Great! Your goal might be to learn survival English. Perhaps you already know many useful phrases, but you want to improve your listening skills and pronunciation. Whatever your goals are, write them down. Another tip is make an agenda. For example, ask yourself these questions. How long do you need to study to achieve your goals? The important thing is to be realistic. Start off slowly, but study regularly. Use material that is challenging, but not too difficult. Find out what works for you. After you have studied for a few weeks, adjust your study schedule accordingly. Next tip here is have fun learning English. The things we best do in life are the things we enjoy doing. If you are not having fun learning English, you are not studying the right way. You can be a serious student who has fun at the same time. Make up your own rewards program to give yourself incentives to study on task. Study a balance of the 4 key skills, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Being very good at only one of these skills will not help you to communicate with the others. For example, you need to be able to read well before you can write well. You also need to be able to listen before you can speak. It helps to think of these communicative skills in 2 groups. How to learn listening. Listen to the radio. Don't always have a pen in hand. Sometimes it helps to just listen. Watch English TV. Children's programs are very useful for learners of English as a second language. Choose programs that you would enjoy in your own language, maybe. Watch movies. Use internet listening resources. The second point is how to learn speaking and pronunciation. You can record your own voice. This might feel very uncomfortable, but it will help you find your weak pronunciation points. Listen to yourself a few days later. Which sounds do you have difficulty hearing? You can use the telephone. Also, you should participate in class. And finally, understand the sounds that your language doesn't have. For example, many languages don't have the P sound. These sounds require extra practice. Now here are the other two skills you need to develop. First, how to learn reading and vocabulary. Read what it interests you. Remember that you learn better when you are having fun. Read at the appropriate level. You want to learn new vocabulary, but you also want to understand what you are reading. If you are looking up every word, the reading is too difficult. Review who, what, where, when, why for each story you read. You can do this for almost any type of reading. Who is it about? What happened? Why did it happen? Where did it take place? When did it take place? This is very useful when you have no comprehension questions to answer. Now, the next one is how to learn writing and spelling. Keep a diary, a kind of a journal. Don't always pay attention to grammar. Free writing can be very useful. It can show you that writing is fun. Have fun with the language. Another tip, write emails in English. Stay in contact with teachers or other students. Rewrite your local news in English. This is another exercise that can be done on a daily basis. Remember that regular activities are the best ones. Now, two more tips for learning. Don't be afraid of grammar. Grammar is for communication. Sometimes students get obsessed with grammar. This is especially true for students who grew up with a strict learning of grammar rules. Remember that you only study grammar in order to communicate.